Good morning and welcome. Happy Thursday. Thursday morning's early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum, here with some words of wisdom to start your day, get you some things to think about and feel about. And today's I really like. And I feel like it is timely for many of us. And so I'm going to wait till a bunch of you pop on before I actually read the reading for today so that I make maximum impact with these words, because there's a reason why this stuff shows up when it shows up, and some of you must be struggling with this right now. Perhaps I'm struggling with this right now and not very good at even acknowledging that I'm struggling with it. So let's start as always with breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Good morning, Cindy. Welcome. Good morning, Gwen. Now people are starting to pop in through the nose, out through the mouth. Again, this is a major shift I want us to embark upon today, and it's going to create reverberations everywhere. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Feeling yourself settle, feeling your shoulders drop. In through the nose, out through the mouth. What do you notice as you're breathing? I'm noticing kind of how tired I am. Good morning, Peggy. Glad you are here. This humidity just does a number on me. I'm struggling to be even semi-productive. So yesterday's little adventure, I'm going to talk for a bit because that gives everybody time to jump on. Yesterday's little adventure was I had a sparrow stuck on the enclosed front porch, and all it seemed to be able to do was back and forth, and the door was this way. So I propped the door open and I started kind of maneuvering to make the space that was available for flying smaller. Yes, my body is working hard on cooling off and not having a whole lot of success. And then when it's cool outside, the air conditioner that's in the window kicks to just the not the low cool anymore. It just is moving air, and that's not sufficient when the inside is hot. Because my dad's always cold, so he's wandering around with his winter vest on, and the air conditioning doesn't even get to the kitchen. I think when I went out there just now, it registered 78 in the kitchen. Yes. Anywho, excuse me. Finally managed to assist the bird off of the front porch, and then I had kind of worked up a sweat because the porch is in the full sun, and I didn't want to leave it in there because I didn't think it would make it. It's hot. So our card for today, as I was saying, and there's 3 of you on here right now, maybe by the time I'm done introducing the card again, there will be more, because I feel like this is a very important one for us, especially as women, to walk through. So, comes from outrageous openness, letting the divine take the lead. Letting the divine take the lead. So, letting go of our desire to control every little dot and tittle that happens in our lives when it's the illusion of control anyway, right? So for those of you who have the book, it is on page 79, and it is called The Bliss of No. Just say it with me. No. Isn't that fun? Say it again. No. We're going to practice. We're going to practice saying it often and early. No. How does it feel when you say it? I can feel that rumble. No. And as per the quote, don't forget that no is a really complete sentence by Dita Minnelli. Don't forget that no is a really complete sentence. You owe nothing beyond that. Nothing beyond that. And I'll tell you why I think that's important right off the bat before I even read this. Most of us, well, no, because I've got this and this and that. Well, maybe I could fit it in here. By giving the explanation, you open the door to undoing your no. And that is certainly not what we want to see happen, correct? So, we're going to practice no being that complete sentence and go from there. So let's start, though, with the chapter, The Bliss of No. Don't forget that no is a really, really complete sentence. Dita Minnelli. My friend Dita mentioned that she spent the day home from work. I asked, concerned, why, were you sick? Nah, she shrugged, just felt like it. I was awestruck by the uber-Sagittarian, offhand way she said that. I might have needed to add, because I've been working day and night, or maybe I thought I'd come down with a cold if I didn't stop, but an elegant, entitled little, I just felt like it. Wow. Exhilarating, unknown territory for my diligent Capricorn self. No is a foreign word for me. We shall practice, my dear. We are going to practice. It'll be good. Want to know how hyper-responsible I used to be? Okay, some of you ready for cringeworthy? And this is going to be you. I will guarantee this is going to be you. Certainly was me. Want to know how hyper-responsible I used to be? Have you ever gotten those pages of awful address labels that charities send you covered with flags or teddy bears or chirping birds? It took me years to realize I could just shred that crap and stop defacing my mail. About the same time, I figured out that I didn't have to answer online surveys from my Office Max family about how my recent shopping experience was. Anybody? And that I saw in a lightning bolt of visionary awareness that I could say a quick goodbye when a certain wingnut relative went on a rabid homophobic rant or two. You don't have to sit and listen to that stuff. You don't have to sit and I'm going to be leaving now. Nice seeing you. Bye. I think I was 40, she says. And every day it gets easier. Sometimes saying no at the right time just makes more and more space for the supreme pleasure of saying yes. All those no's you don't say clutter the field so that you don't have room for your yeses. Oh, I can't go to this really fun thing I want to go to because I've already agreed to pick the lint off my neighbor's dog. Whatever. We commit to stuff that we don't really want to do. And I'm not saying that you stop being useful to others, but take a look at the balance. If 95% of your time is spent doing things for others that you really don't want to do, let's adjust the balance a bit. We'll start slow. Let's do 85% of the balance. You're doing the stuff you don't want to do, and you carve out 15% of the yeses for yourself. Good morning, Mel. Glad you are here. Welcome. Welcome to anybody who slipped past me while I was reading. So, that's the line I underlined on this particular thing. So, Cindy, if you wouldn't mind putting that in the feed, I would love it. Sometimes saying no at the right time just makes more and more space for the supreme pleasure of saying yes. So here's a little vignette, a story that she's going to share that gives us an idea of just how this can consume us. And then we're going to do some work on it no longer consuming us. I gave a reading to a well-known novelist named Bryn. She confessed that her Oakland apartment was so crammed with piles of unanswered fan mail she could barely move. The overflowing bags, sometimes 8 or 9 years old, mocked and tortured her. As a dutiful Virgo, she figured if people had gone through the trouble of writing, they deserved a response. But after wrestling all day with one manuscript or another, the last thing she wanted was more work, especially writing. I thought mail turning her home into an obstacle course was awfully symbolic. When I suggested that she just bless the letters and burn them all, Bryn nearly wept with happiness, and she wanted this all along. Thank you, Cindy, for posting that. I appreciate it. Bryn wrote to say that after she released the mail, her whole life had opened up like a sunflower. Her books were her offering. They were enough. And I think that last piece is important. They were enough. She was choosing her books as her contribution, and that was sufficient. How many of us, either in our own mind and oftentimes in our own mind, feel like what we're doing isn't quite enough? Well, here, let me throw in something more and something more and something more. And pretty soon we're like, what did I do? What did I do? So one that I think is really interesting is the saying of thank you. So let's say you ask someone to help you with something. Let's say, I'm going to make something up. You're carrying a ladder and it's not a one-person job. So you ask your neighbor if he or she will help you with the ladder. So you're on one end, they're on the other. They help you put the ladder away. Thank you so much. Oh, really? I'm so grateful. Blah, 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 blah. Then you take them a home-baked cherry pie. Then you sweep their porch. Come on, people. Come on. Thank you is sufficient. Thank you is sufficient. How does that feel to you? Does that feel kind of like, yeah, but not really? Know that what's underneath there is your poor sense of self-worth. Your poor sense of self-worth. Your belief that you somehow don't deserve to ask for some help with something, putting the ladder away, receive it, and thank you being enough. How many of you are squirming right now? Hands up. Let's see it. We need to heal this. We need to adjust this. We need to realize we have value simply because we exist. Even before we do anything for anybody, we have value. And because we have value, we have the right to ask for what we need. Other people have the right to say no, but we have the right to ask for what we need. Guess it depends on how big a favor it is. Ha ha ha. And here's the thing, girl. What you think is a big, hairy, freaking deal, asking for putting a ladder away, the other person is like, yeah, done, on with their day, no big deal, right? And there's an assumption built into what we're saying here that I want to call out and bring into the sunlight. Good morning, Carolyn. Glad you are here. Thank you for the hearts and the rainbow. And that is that idea that we, like there's this gigantic scoreboard in the sky, and we have to keep track of how much we ask of others and then return in kind. What if it's a much bigger picture than that? What if it's a much more cohesive, inclusive, collaborative picture than that? I do something to help you. You do something to help Jane. Jane does something to help Herbie. Herbie does something to help Bill. Bill does something to help me. It'll make its way around eventually. I don't need to be keeping a scoreboard. And really, what we do with the scoreboard, most of us, is we only keep half of it. We keep the half where we're owing someone else. We don't keep the half of where someone owes us, because oftentimes we don't even register that part of the equation that way. Well, there, I did something for you, so now you owe me. Yeah, there's a handful of people who function like that. But for most of us, it's, no, I just did it and I'm done with it for them. But if someone did it and is done with it for us, we still create the scoreboard. Nope, I owe them now. Oi. Oi, people. Oi. Saying no. Practice again. No. No, thank you. Nope, that doesn't work for me. No. Whatever. And now sit with it. No explanation. Just say it right now. No. Can you leave it at no? Or do you feel like you must offer this whole explanation as to why? You don't owe that explanation, all right? So, your mission for today and moving forward is I want you practicing. I want you practicing saying no. It's hard when it's a parent, absolutely. Excuse me. But you can also modify things. So if your parent says, I'm going to make stuff up here, I need you to take me to the grocery store today, and your day is jam-packed, you can say, I can't do it today, but I could do it tomorrow morning. Nope, I need it today. Okay, well, who could you call that might be able to help you out with that? That doesn't mean you capitulate your day. It means you work with it until you can come up with something that's mutually beneficial. You don't have to be the long-suffering one who always gives in. That's not healthy for you. It's not healthy for them either. So what's implied in here? Yes. Yes, very hard to leave it with no explanation. I totally agree. But to be in the beginning, for sure, why I want you practicing it without the explanation is because of that tendency to undo ourselves. Well, I can't because I've got this, and this. Well, maybe I could fit it in here. Boom, right? If you could, I'll give you one little possibility here. If you could offer your explanation, and then that's at the point where you shut up and don't undo yourself, I might give you that one. So, I can't do it today because I have 3 appointments already. And listen to what you get back. This is going to tell you who are the people in your life who are using you, and who are the people in your life who really give a shit about you. Because if they come back and say, well, cancel one of those and do my thing. Or if they say, ooh, I really have to figure this out. That's 2 different responses. The second one is them taking ownership of getting their own needs met, which is where that ownership ought to be in the first place, right? And acknowledging that your things are important. I really have to figure this out. Acknowledging you're not going to be the one who's going to help me. I get that. That's fine. Now I got to figure this out. And it's not your job to help them with the solutions. Most of us then would pop into, well, I'll call my sister and see if she could help you with that. Blah, blah, blah. Called selfish because you don't want to do what they want you to do. Okay, so therein lies the manipulation. Flinging around the word selfish. It's kind of like, I'm so disappointed in you. What a manipulation, right? It's designed to get us to do something we don't want to do, when we have every right to say no, or that won't work for me, or the timing's not great, or whatever we're going to say. There's actually lists online of however many ways to say no. Remember the old song, 50 ways to leave your lover? Slip out the back, Jack. Make new plans, Dan. No need to be coy, Roy. Just listen to me. Hop on the bus, Gus. No need to discuss much. Just drop off the key, Lee, and set yourself free. That is what we are doing. We're setting ourselves free from this demand that we've placed on ourselves, that others have placed upon us, that society has placed upon us. And think about the people, the women you know, who just don't go there. They're not the helper type. They're not going to do it. People learn not to ask them, right? And that doesn't mean that's what you're going to become, but I want you to be aware. There are those unicorns out there who function like that. They're not the ones who are going to give everybody a ride everywhere, who are going to bake for the church picnic, who are going to sell out their soul to make sure they're doing everything for everybody, including things that others ought to be doing for themselves. So, when someone says to you, can you do X for me? And really, I mean, especially with our children, adult children, can you do this for me? I think you're capable of doing that. I think you can get that handled. I think you could fit that in. Mom, nope. Not doing it. You're doing it. Click. A couple days later, you get the phone call. Well, I got that done. Of course you did. I knew you could, right? We do them no favors when we bail them out of the things that are uncomfortable in their lives. We all have to deal with the stuff that's uncomfortable in our lives. So learning how to face it, learning how to do it, and then learning how to pat ourselves on the back after the fact. So the parent calls. They want the ride somewhere right now. Drop what you're doing and come and get me. Can't do it now. I could do it at 6 o'clock. That won't work. Okay, well, hopefully they can find someone who can take you. Click. Yay me. Yes, it's painful, it's difficult, it feels uncomfortable, especially when they've trained us to do things a certain way at a certain time, etc. And we're no longer going to be available to do that. That too, if you have a routine with somebody, so maybe once a month you've gotten together with this friend of yours for lunch, and every time you get together with her, she gets smashed and not fun things happen and blah, blah, blah. Getting to the point where you say, I don't think I want to go to lunch this month. But what about next month? Nah, let's just take a break from this. Why? Well, you get to decide how honest you're willing to be. The last several times we've gotten together haven't been fun. They haven't been pleasant because of your drinking. I'm not drinking as much as we've been around the block with this thing. It doesn't change. You're not willing to go into treatment. I love you, but I'm not willing to go to lunch with you anymore. If you were a friend of mine, you'd go to lunch. Nope, I'm not willing to do that. Then we're no longer friends. Well, I'm sorry you feel that way. Blah, blah, blah. And that can be good too, that not asking as often, but I also don't want us not asking. Because if we're in need, it's perfectly fine to ask. We can also broaden the group of people among whom we ask. I've gotten to the point where oftentimes the tallest people in the grocery store are going to get hit up by me. Can you get that thing? I did that the other day. One loaf of bread that I wanted, the raisin bread my dad likes, the back corner. This was not a shelving unit that I could climb. There are those you can climb when you're short. You get really used to doing that. This was not one I could climb without probably the whole thing coming over. So, went and found a clerk who was a very tall woman, and I said, could you help me get that off the shelf? And she grabbed it and had no problem. Went about her business. No problem. Ask strangers for help. That's fine. Ask people you don't typically ask for help. That's fine. Offer help. Offer help. Hey, if you need something, need help with something, let me know. Put in your range of agreement, I'm not willing to loan you money, I'm not willing to drive cross country, but if you have some small things you need help with that I'm capable of doing, I'm more than willing to help you with that. It may involve setting boundaries with people who you're finding are asking too much. So every time they go to get a haircut, every time they need to go pick up groceries, every time they're calling you, you're the one. On one of those trips, you can say, I'm more than happy to do this stuff for you. I'm wondering if you could maybe find another person or two who could help split the difference in terms of taking you places. And or having some times where you say, not going to be able to do that tomorrow, so who could you ask? Allowing it to be okay that you're not the one they constantly rely on. Defining what you need and want, yes. And also, in honor of my tagline, we are all capable of far more than we think we are there things that you feel like you have to ask for help with that really, truly you could do for yourself? And once you do them, feel rather proud of yourself that you did them. Now, the carrying of the ladder, could you do it by yourself? Yes, but that's one of those things that maybe it's not so wise to. Carrying in, I'm notorious for this, carrying in all the bags of groceries in one fell swoop. Make 2 trips, Bonnie. Make 2 trips. So there are things that we can also do for ourselves that maybe we don't need the help with. But certainly practicing asking for help when we need it and saying no to others when that's what's in our highest and best good. Now, no, the first couple of times you do this, you may be pretty uncomfortable afterwards. You may be tempted to pick up the phone and tell them, no, I've changed my mind, I can do it, blah, blah. Sit with the discomfort. Allow the discomfort. Breathe into the discomfort. Unpack the discomfort. Why am I so uncomfortable? Well, what if she's mad at me? Okay, what if? Well, if she's mad at me, then maybe she won't be my friend anymore. Okay, and what if she's not your friend anymore? Well, I'd feel really sad. Okay, and what if you feel sad? Just keep going until you arrive at the place of, and I'm still willing to have said no. I said no for a reason. It's to take care of me. I'm still willing to say no. Practice, practice, practice. There's 10 of you on here with me right now. The 11 of us can practice this today. What are things you might need to say no to? What are things that have been kind of sitting there lurking that you haven't given an answer to because you want to say no and you're afraid? Today's the day. All right? So, sending good juju to all of you as you step into your own sovereignty, your own power and authority, the ability, capacity to say no kindly and lovingly. Let's practice this. This alone will change things dramatically for people. See you again tomorrow. Remember, you're capable of far more than you think you are. No.